I'm Ruth from View Entertainment, and I'm here to unpack some of those themes a little more. As we've said, cinema is booming in the UK, and we just finished the biggest summer ever, which, given the choice of places that people can consume content, is really important. And I'd like to discuss that in the context of moving beyond just the big screen moment when you're watching the film, but what happens before and after is so important for the cultural and consumer engagement in these films. So thinking about why people go to the cinema, one simplistic answer used to be because that's where the films are, and it's still true that it's where almost all new titles appear first. And there's real value in this currency, being part of a cultural moment that spills over into other media like soundtracks or content on TV, interviews with people making the films, and being able to join in a live discussion, enjoying the buzz around films and the soundtrack being talked about on social media. And someone saying that the last film they went to see, everyone was talking about it, and it's just one of those films you have to see in the cinema to get full effect, but also to join in that conversation. But films, new or otherwise, can also be viewed elsewhere, yet UK cinema attendance is booming, because cinema continues to be valued as a more immersive experience and fulfills a number of roles in people's lives. Cinema is so much more than just where the films are. Immersion is a really rare experience these days. We're doing so much multitasking and multi-screening. It's so ubiquitous, so it divides our attention. Adults now spend over 2 hours, 17 minutes a day multimedia tasking on 2 screens at once, according to Touchpoint's IPA survey. That's a 10-minute increase on even just the year before. So now just over a quarter of the time they spent consuming media is spent doing 2 at once. We're also living in today's attention economy, where constant pings, alerts and interruptions are vying for our attention. That's because how many companies get paid is based on this attention, so we rarely have the opportunity to focus on anything for long. But it's valuable to do so, and 61% of consumers agree that cinema is one of the few places they truly switch off and escape. So immersion is rare, it's also really valuable. It's an escape from and a liberation from things. So it diverts your attention, it can provide relief from pressures and problems, it can allow time and space for your mind to regroup. Cinema is time away from everything. But positively, it's also towards something. It's being absorbed into things, experiencing things which are different to your own reality. You can empathise with stories of others and open yourself up to alternatives. This immersion and focus is valuable to brands vying for attention to advertise to them. And this is one of the reasons why cinema advertising looks set to grow faster than internet advertising in the next year, according to Zenith. So there's immersion in watching a film and losing yourself in a story. And Jordan Peele said about Get Out, if you don't see it with the theatre energy, you'll miss the full intended experience. So what is it about cinemas that give you that immersive experience? What is this theatre energy? So the immersion does happen during what we call the big screen moment, when the lights are down, the film is playing, and at the cinema, this immersion is more intense than watching films in other ways. This is due to the sensory deprivation. You're in a dark room with no talking, no phones. You stay in your seat. You're focused. People say, I really like that it's the only time when I'm not on my phone because I can really focus on what's in front of me. There's that bubble effect. You get away from everyone's phones. It's also continuous with no pauses. It's relentless and therefore more intense. So there's sensory deprivation at the cinema. There's also sensory overload. The scale of the big screen filling your field of vision with sharp imagery, it looks so real. 82% of cinema goers agree films are better when seen on the big screen. There's the quality and volume and nuance in the sound, and the emotions of the film are intensified by others' reactions. The comedy is funnier, the tension is tighter. One of my favourite cinema experiences ever was watching Notorious here at the BFI, very tense Alfred Hitchcock thriller, and feeling everyone leaning forward a little at key moments, tense on the edge of their seats and holding their breath together. That special feeling of excitement at the cinema is often lodged with us since childhood in a way that streaming and TV are not. Someone said, I've loved going to the cinema since I was little. I remember sitting there in the dark, in the big seat in front of the huge screen and finding it all really magical. And these childhood visits are really influential in later life. 73% of today's cinema goers were taken to the cinema often or at least sometimes as a child, as opposed to rarely or never. For those who don't go to the cinema these days, only 50% were taken often or sometimes as a child. 34% were rarely taken and 15% were never taken. So we need to encourage families and schools to bring children to the cinema to drive these lifelong habits so that they have these great experiences. It's also a special outing. The immersion is intensified by leaving your house and going to a space specifically built for watching films. It disrupts your mental patterns. It primes you for an experience. It sets you up to pay attention. There's a real sense of occasion about going to the cinema. It's not just pressing a button on a remote or firing up a tablet. And so going out to the cinema does feel like an event. You're interested in it. You're invested in it. But cinema is also really accessible. It's not just for big nights out and big events or big films. It can also fulfill the role of a casual meetup, a relaxed daytime treat, everything in between. 20% of cinema visits were planned on the day of the visit, so there's quite a lot of spontaneity. 67% of tickets that were bought online were actually bought on the day of the visit. And we found this out in research that we did at View. We asked people to tell us about a recent cinema occasion, and through that research we gathered 1,000 occasions and found these stats that 20% of visits were planned on that day. Cinema can be low-key, it's come as you are. It's a rare social space where you're not there to be looked at. It's more affordable than other outings such as theatre or live music or theme parks. There's a national footprint with local cinemas nearby requiring less travel time. It's beloved both by frequent aficionados and occasional visitors, an activity that you can dip into when it takes your fancy. And increasingly, cinemas are welcoming for those with accessibility needs or other special needs such as audio described, subtitled screenings, autism-friendly screenings. And despite sitting in silence in the dark, it is a communal experience. You're part of something and sharing the moment with others, whether that's your companions or the rest of the audience. But importantly, the experience extends in both directions from actually watching the film. So first comes the great expectation, the rising excitement as you get closer to that big screen moment. And we found in our research of different occasions that 74% of the visits were film first, where the cinema goer thought, I want to see X, when and where shall we go? But 26%, a substantial amount, are cinema first. What should we do this weekend? What's on at the cinema? Showing cinema in itself is valued as an activity beyond the specific film, and that many are open to suggestion to the breadth of titles as has just been mentioned. So in that great expectation, there are several different factors and influences and ways that people are starting to engage with that cinema visit. They see ads and trailers, they engage in speculation on social media and in real-life conversations. Cinema websites are a really key touch point, browsing what's on. Amongst View customers, 90% said they looked online for film times and information before their visit. Still really high at 87%, even if they didn't book their tickets online. So the website is very much engaged with and should be high quality, a seamless, easy experience with great visuals as a reflection of the quality of that cinema experience that they're looking forward to and to inspire and entice. The foyer has an important role to play in the great expectation as well. The foyer on arrival should feel more theatrical, multi-sensory, it should be stimulating. The snacks and drinks are a huge part of the ritual for many people. The hospitality, the interaction with staff. Then the experience isn't over when the film finishes. The credits roll, the lights go up, and what we call the afterglow begins. You discuss it with your companions. There's pent-up comments not spoken during the film, rather than talking over it as you go. People discuss it on social. They might read up on it and delve deeper. They look forward to their next visit. So before the film, you've watched trailers with literally the people that you go to the cinema with. So you start to add to your mental list of what to do next time. So the great expectation and the afterglow add a halo effect to that big screen moment. It's more emotional, more memorable, more communal and more meaningful. And hence the full end-to-end experience is important for doing justice to the cinema experience. And in what's been dubbed the age of loneliness, at a time when it's communities, not just attention, that are divided, we need the power of cinema now more than ever.